Hi everybody, how are you today? This is the new August through December Stampin' Up! Catalog, and I am so excited about it. There is so many wonderful things. This month, I participated in a Christmas in July exchange, so everything I've ordered so far is just Christmas stuff. So that's what we will be doing this month for our Hostess Club. And then next month, I'll get onto the Halloween. So let's go ahead and you are going to love, love, love this paper. Okay, this is the bundle we're using today. It is absolutely gorgeous. I actually ordered 3 packs of this paper because I just love it so much. Here is what the embossing folder looks like. Look at those beautiful snowflakes. Oh, they're just gorgeous. And then the stamp set, the bundle right here, comes with all these beautiful snowflakes and the 2 polymer stamp sets. And I have mine just on magnetic sheets inside my box. And look at this one. This one doesn't cut out an actual snowflake. It cuts out like the snowflake from a square, but it doesn't cut out like the pieces of a snowflake. Does that make sense? It's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then let me show you these. These are the blue adhesive backed gems. So gorgeous. I mean, the catalog does not do them justice. They are beautiful. Now, remember, if you spent $50 in July, you were emailed a $5 off coupon. And so make sure that you include that with your order for the month of August. Okay, look at this glimmer paper. I gotta just show you a sample of it because obviously the catalog doesn't do it justice either. Isn't that gorgeous? Balmy blue. I think I'm going to have to buy this in bulk. It is so pretty. I just don't think I can get enough of it. So that's $5. So consider, the fact that you spent $50 last month. You could basically get the balmy blue glitter paper for free. Yes, for free. Okay, maybe I'm a little too excited over the glitter paper, but it is so pretty. And look at this die. Look at this sample. I need to make this card. Okay, this is from one of the dies. It makes this cute little window for you to make a shaker card. See, right there's the die. That's what it cuts out like, but that's what it looks like as a card front. Oh my gosh, I just can't get enough of this set. Okay, are we ready to see what we're going to make today? I am so excited to show you. So first off, you get this kit. Samples not included. Okay, let's look at our first card that we're going to make today. This is a triple box card. Opens like that, but I will flip it so you can see it. Oh my goodness. Look at that balmy blue glitter paper. Oh, just gorgeous. So it sits like this. And then I also have included a special envelope, and I will show you how to size down that envelope to fit your card. Okay? So there's that one. We're going to make this one second, so stay tuned. But this is our first card. This is, upside down. There we go. Let's try that again. Yes, it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I am running out of steam. So there's the inside. And this is much like what we did in the other Hostess Club, except that the other Hostess Club had a triple fold. So triple. So 1, 2, 3 strips. And this one opens like that. So this card is just using 1 strip, but this one used 3. And I did this one in my other Hostess Club. So details on that, just ask me. Okay. So 2 absolutely stunning, gorgeous cards. And gosh, I can't get enough of this paper. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to set my cards aside. And I'm going to carefully take out everything that's in my Ziploc bag kit. Now, when everything was put in here, it was put in here in stacks. So it should be relatively easy. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to take, I have 2 6x12 sheets of paper. I have some embossed paper, all these squares, all of this stuff here that I'm separating over here, that is for, down to the envelope, that's for the triple cube box that we're going to do in a minute. Okay. Everything I need for this card, got my bling. There's bling in here, so make sure you don't lose that. We have, now here's that snowflake. It doesn't, so it cuts it out of the background, but it's not actually one that's put together where you could just glue it down as a piece. But isn't it just so pretty and intricate? Okay. And then you have this piece here. It says our friendship is one of a kind. I just love the sentiments with this set. And then I have a silver foil snowflake. Here is my strips. And those will go together just like that. And then I have 2 silver pieces. And I have a nice blue envelope. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is I did not do any of the scoring. So you're going to have to do your own scoring and a little bit of cutting. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 11. And I'm going to score it at 2 1/8. Is that right? No, that's not right. 2 3/4. And then I'm going to flip it and I'm going to score it again at 2 3/4. That's the correct scoring. All right, 2 3/4 from each end. Now I'm going to go ahead and fold on my score lines and go ahead and burnish those. Just like that. And I like to work from my biggest pieces to my smallest piece. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one out of the way. Uh-oh, my glue's been open a while. Hopefully it works. Ugh. Hate it when I leave my glue open too long. It's probably been open a good 30 minutes. So I gotta unclog it. Hopefully that works. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this down in the center, centered so I have a little white border around the edge. And then I have these 2 silver foil pieces and they are going to get glued on each flap. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And remember, I know that I am going awfully quick. Please feel free to pause the video if I'm going too fast. It's hard for me to judge my speed when there is nobody here. And I'm just talking to myself. So, there we go. There's that. Now I'm going to take this piece here. And I am going to actually cut this in half. And, let's see. It measures 5 inches. So I'm going to cut this right down the center at 2 1/2. Okay? And now I have 2 pieces, just like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue these 2 pieces just like this onto my card panel. And I'm going to line up my openings from the snowflake with that edge of that silver foil paper. So put a little glue here. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same with this side. Get a little glue on the inside of those. All right. It's a little off center, but that's okay. All right, so that's how easy that card is so far to put together. Now I'm going to take these last 3 pieces and they go white, silver pattern. There's this white, and now the silver. Oh, my silver seems to be just a hair too long. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give that a quick little trim, and hopefully it's not too short. There we go. That'll work. And then I'm going to, before I glue this one, I'm going to just make sure it's going to fit. Yes, that'll fit nicely. I love using the gold and silver foil paper for my holiday cards. And this card really isn't that tricky. All right, so then I'm going to take, and I'm going to put this, just kind of eyeball it about the center, and I'm only going to put glue on the left-hand side, just like that. I'm going to reclose that and glue that down. Then I'm going to take and make sure that all of your centers are popped out like that. There we go. And I'm just going to take just a little dot of glue right in the center of that snowflake, right there. And I'm going to put it down just like this. Now, you each have 5 random sized clear bling. And what I did with those on my original card was I just used them to, oh, they're there. I just put them in the centers of my snowflakes that are in my background. You may not have 5 centers, in which case you could just place them randomly. Oh, oop, there it is. However you wish to do it. And I'm going to stick this one right here. All right. I have another one here. I may go back and add just another bling right there because I still have a center of a snowflake there. But, you know, it's hard to tell with this paper how many snowflakes you were going to end up with. And so I just gave everybody 5 bling. But I will, like I said, I will probably go back and add one more bling to that from my stash. So that's that first card. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then the pretty matching envelope. Now this card. How complicated does this card look? Does it look complicated? Because it's not. It looks like it, but once we start putting this together, you will be amazed at how quickly this card will come together. Okay? I will include the measurements for this card in your order. I spaced getting them in the kit in time, but the measurements will be in your order so that you could recreate this card. All right, so let's go ahead. Like I said, you're going to have to do your own cutting and scoring, but it's good practice for you. So I'm going to set all these pieces up here, and I'm going to take my 2 6x12. And I'm going to cut them down. They need to each measure 5.5 by 11.5. So I'm going to trim them down to 5.5. And I'm just going to set my scraps to the side because we're going to need them in a little bit. And 11.5. Okay. And then I'll do that with this other 11.5. By 5.5. All right, now we're going to go ahead and do some scoring. And the score marks are going to be the exact same on both of these. We're going to score at 11 inches on the landscape side. So we're going to score at 11 inches. And then we're going to score at 8 1/4. Again, that's 8 1/4. And then I'm going to score at 5 1/2. Just like this. Move that to the 5 1/2 mark. And then I'm going to go ahead and score it at 2 3/4. Oops, sorry about that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set this piece aside, and I'm going to score the other piece exactly the same. And again, I will repeat those measurements. We're going to score it at 11 inches, 8 1/4 inches, 5 1/2 inches, and 2 3/4 inches. All right, so there's that. We have them both scored. But with this piece, I'm now going to flip it on the portrait side, and I'm now going to cut it in half at 2 3/4. Okay, so then I have 2. This just makes it so we didn't have to cut more and score more. Okay, there we are. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to make our little cubes. And so we're going to go ahead and fold on all of our score marks. And go ahead and use your bone folder to burnish those edges. Just like so. And then I'm going to take a piece of score tape. And I'm going to just put it down like this. And your liquid glue works too. Or this, not score tape, it's tearing tape. Sorry about that. And I'm going to go ahead and peel the backing off of that. Now I'm going to glue that down just like that. Okay, that's our first box. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this piece. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my tear-in tape and put it on this little flap again, just like I did on the last piece. And peel that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and seal that, and there we go. There's our 2 cubes, just like that. And now we're going to take, for the tall cube, we're going to go ahead and burnish on all of those score marks. All right, so what do we think so far? Now I'm going to go ahead and put my tear-in tape along this skinny flap again, just like we did with the little ones. All right. And there we go. Okay, now we want this seam. See, there's the seam. We want that in the front because we're not going to be able to see it from the front. Okay. And then with these seams, we want them in the front. So here's my edge, my seam. It's going to get glued onto this side just like that. And and then here's my seam. And that's going to be at the bottom front edge. And we're going to glue those on just like that. So I'm going to lay this flat. And I'm going to lay this flat. And I know that I'm going to put glue on this one. And it's going to just go just like that. All right. And I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue on this just because then I have a little wiggle room time in case I don't get it on absolutely straight. Okay. So, and there we go. See how that sits up just like this? Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Now see, here's my seam. I want my seam in the same spot. Oh, here's my seam. So I'm going to glue on this bottom edge right here. So I have a little wiggle room if I need it. But gluing this on flat will make it much easier to get it on straight. Okay? And there you go. That was the most complicated part of the whole card. Okay? And it will fold nicely and fit in an envelope. Okay? All right. So now I'm going to just set this aside so it can dry. And I'm going to go ahead and just set my stamp pad right there on it. And I'm going to bring these pieces forward. Okay, so this piece is my floating sentiment, and I'll glue that on there. I have this snowflake. I have 6 balmy blue. And then I have 6 patterns. Now, this is your card. They're patterned on both sides. Do what you want, okay? This is not my card. This is your card. Okay, I think I'm going to do just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue all of these pieces together. There we go. And I totally forgot how much fun it is to record videos. I'm really having a good time. I really need to record more. They are so fun to do. And I just have so many techniques to show you, and oh, I just can't keep up with the crafty world out there sometimes. There we go. And now my last 2. I really love this purple. That's why I chose this side, honestly, so that I could see the purple. All right. So pretty. Okay, we still have these pieces. I'm going to set those aside. I'm just going to deal with these pieces. Now, if we look on my original, I need 2 pieces here. And then when I open it, so if I open it and just fold it the opposite direction, like that, then I have 2, 4, 6, okay? So I'm going to just fold this down the opposite direction. There we go. And I'm going to decide where I want to put these. Well, these ones are blank and they don't have any snowflakes on them. So I think I'm going to put them in the middle just because, well, they're pretty. And I like this one and this one. And so I think I will glue these down to those squares. Just like that. And make sure you center them. So cute. I just love this paper. But I love snowflakes and I love snowmen, and these are like totally my Christmas colors, so I am so excited for it. All right. Now we have, go ahead and fold it back just like that. Go ahead and look at it in front of you. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to grab my paper trimmer again. And with my paper trimmer, I have these 3 snowflake embossed pieces of white cardstock. They each need to be cut down to 2.5 inches. They're already 2.5 inches wide. We just need to have them 2.5 inches on all 4 sides. Okay? Just like that. Now we're going to glue 2 up here in the top, because when you are looking at this from the front, you can kind of see that. And so you don't have to have them there, but it is pretty if you do. So I'm going to go ahead and start there. I'm going to set this in here, kind of line it up the best I can, and then just give it a squeeze so it gets nice and flattened. And I'll do the same thing with this other side. And give it a little squeeze. All right, so now we have it like this, and we have 4 of these squares left. Well, 2 go on the backs of these, and then 2 will go on the bottom of the squares. But let's go ahead, and I don't know if you can see this. I'll do my best to show the camera. Put some glue on the back, and I'm going to stick this in here in the back and kind of center it as best I can, and then give it a good rub. Make sure it sticks nicely. And I'll do the same with this one. Because you do see this, and you know, some people actually use just more of the designer series paper. However, I just wanted it to be a subtle but something there. So now you can see, I don't know if you can see that embossing, but that's there and there. How pretty is that? And then these last 2 pieces go on the bottom of these squares. Okay, so go ahead and put the glue on there. And go ahead and get the glue on the other side. And glue that down. So now you just have a nice subtle white on white snowflakes going on the inside of that card. So the next thing I have is to do, and the last things I have to do, which seem kind of complicated, but they're not really. And I will do my best to go slow and explain what I'm doing. Okay. Go ahead and make sure all those centers are popped out. Now those scraps, remember I said you were going to need those scraps for later? Well, I'm going to take these 2 shorter ones, and I'm going to cut these at 2 inches. Actually, I'm going to cut them at 1 inch. 1.5. 1.5 will work. Okay. And 1.5. And if they're not exact, it's fine. You're not going to see them. They're going to be hidden. So I have 2 pieces that are 1.5 inches. And I'm going to fold them both in half. Just like this. Give them a nice good press. And like I said, you know, they're just scraps. It's just for the floating device part. Nobody sees these little pieces. So if they're not exact, like mine, you can see this one's a little smaller than this one. It's not a big deal. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put these 2 pieces fold side together. Okay? And I'm going to glue them down just like that. Right in the center. Okay? Do your best to get it centered as well as you can. And I'm going to butt them up against each other so that now I'm going to take glue and I'm going to put glue here and here. Okay. And now I'm going to bring this back over and I'm going to fold this like this. Okay. And now I'm going to put my floating sentiment inside there very carefully. Okay, so I'm pressing on both sides. Okay, there you go. See, look at there. Like I said, you're not going to see those pieces at all. You want to just make sure they're straight. And just like that. Okay, now we're going to do it again. So if you missed it the first time, I'm going to take this other scrap and I'm going to cut it down to about 1.5 inches. Give or take, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to just fold this one in half. Now, the only reason I'm folding only one of these is because I'm going to now cut this one into 2 narrow strips because this is very fine and we don't have a lot of space for our background. So I'm just going to cut 2 narrow strips off of that, just like that. Okay. And I'll probably end up cutting a little bit more off the front tab, the front piece. So one side is obviously going to be glued to the front and I'm going to just go ahead and just trim those down. Okay. Just like that. Now I'm going to flip my snowflake over and I'm going to go ahead and grab my silicone mat for this because I don't want to get glue everywhere. Ooh. And I'm just going to put some glue right here in the center. And I'm going to go ahead and little piece, the little side down. I'm going to just stick that right there in the glue and take my piercing tool and go ahead and press it down. Okay. Oh. So see how I have it, the fold and my little tabby there. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to put this long tab up against the other long tab. And I'm going to give that a press. Okay, you don't want a lot. And see how the glue, there you go. So you do see a little bit, a tiny bit of white there. And that'll be okay because we're going to add that beautiful blue bling to the center. All right, so then last step. I'm going to take a tiny bit of glue on each one of these flaps. Move my mat. I'm going to fold this way. And then I'm going to slide that on there and I'm going to pinch. Okay? And hold it. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, and when it all folds up, it doesn't even get bent. All right. So our last step is to find that blue bling, that gorgeous blue bling that we had here. I don't know what happened to mine, but I have a couple extra just sitting right here. And I'm going to take one blue bling and I'm going to put it right in the center of that snowflake. Just like that. Okay. So that's the card. It was a lot easier than it looks, right? Now, when I measure this card, it is about 5.5 inches wide. Now, the envelope that I gave you is much larger. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our envelope and our paper trimmer, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut. So here's my flap. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut 1 inch off this side. And then I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to take this and put it at 6 inches. And I am going to go ahead and cut that side off. Okay? Now, you could take liquid glue or you could take some really thin tape and do it either way. I'm just going to take just a really thin strip of liquid glue, and I'm going to put it along this edge and along this edge. Okay? Doesn't take a lot, remember. And then I'm going to just go ahead and press it. And then if you wanted, you could take your corner rounder and go ahead and round the corners so it looks more finished and polished. And now you have an envelope that fits this card. Ta-da, just like that. Snug as a bug in a rug. So, of course, you want to make sure your glue is nice and dry. And I would not recommend anything like score tape bigger than 1/8 inch score tape or a light strip of glue. If you do use something wider, you probably want to cut your envelope at 6.5 inches to allow for that adhesive. So just make sure you remember that. And again, I will include the measurements to this card in with your order for this month. Okay? If there's any questions or concern, please let me know. I'm glad we got to do this today, and I hope that it wasn't as intimidating as it looked originally. And remember, all orders are due August 15th. Have an incredible day. Bye-bye.